Everybody, at least virtually. So, I guess share with social distancing. So we're going to go back to Tehillim, and I'm going to move along to Kapitel Yud Tes, even though there still is more Yud Ches, but I guess we'll have to Mitzvah Hashem the second go around. But I wanted to move along into Kapitel Yud Tes now. Kapitel Yud Tes is a well-known Kapitel in Tehillim. It's part of the Psukim of Shabbos. Lamnatseach Mizmar LeDavid. Hashamayim Misaprim Kevoid Kel. David HaMelech says that the heavens, the Shamayim, recites the honor and the glory of the Almighty Hashem. Maise Yadav Magid Harakia. And the Rakia, which simply put means the sky, tells over the wonders of the handiwork of Hashem. Just to read a little bit further before we start learning out from the Psukim what we can. Yom l'yom yabia omer. Day to day, they cause speech to flow. Yabia is a lashon of flowing. So yom l'yom, each day, yabia omer. The heavens, they cause speech. They cause people to speak about the wonders of Hashem. The laila, and night to night, yechave das. They tell over knowledge, or they give us knowledge. We're in Kapitel Yud Tes of Tehillim. Ein omer, there is no speech. The ein dvarim, and there are no words. The heavens don't actually verbalize anything. They don't have the facilities of speech. So ein omer, there's no speech. Ve'ein dvarim, and there are no words. B'li nishma kailam. Their voice cannot be heard. And yet, David HaMelech said in Pasuk Beis, Hashamayim misaprim kavayid kel. The heavens recite the wonders, the glory, the honor of Hashem. Umaise yadav magid harakia. And the sky recites and tells over the wonders of the handiwork of Hashem. So even though they don't have the facility of speech, and David HaMelech makes that clear in Pasuk Daled, when he says, Ein omer ve'ein dvarim, still David HaMelech chose to use the words misaprim and magid, that the heavens, they recite and tell over the wonders and the praises of Hashem. So Rashi makes a point of that. And Rashi says that what David HaMelech is trying to show us is that the heavens speak so clearly and so eloquently about the power and the wonder of the Ribbono Shel Olam that it's as if they're speaking. It's as if they're screaming. The truth is that the Shamayim screams out to people that there is a Barei Olam, that there is a creator, and that there is a designer, and that there is purpose to the world. The heavens scream that out as if they had the facility of speech, as if somebody was standing next to you and screaming in your ear, even though they don't have a voice. But the only thing is, you have to have ears. You have to have eyes. You have to be looking. You have to be listening. The Mesilas Yesharim, in his Hakdama, makes a point. The Mesilas Yesharim says, if we don't look, im lo histakalnu, if we don't look, ve'im lo iyanu, and if we're not ma'ayin, if we don't delve into what is Yiras Shamayim, and what is Avas Hashem, and what is Avodas Hashem, then asks the Mesilas Yesharim, how will we ever find it? And the Mesilas Yesharim says that if we don't think about these things and delve into these things, we will never be able to escape the Havlei Ha'olam, the nonsense of this world, that causes all of these concepts and all of these things to be forgotten from our hearts. We're all busy. The nature of the world, we wake up in the morning and we have things that we have to do, and we have jobs, and we have to-do lists, and we have things that pull at us, and we have things that we have no choice. We have things that we must do. We have to prepare food. I know right now, like my home, the same as many other homes, I'm sure some of you have it as well. Everybody is home. Nobody's going to school. Everybody is based at home all day. You have to prepare meals. You have to get the food into the house. You have to put food onto the table. You have to keep the house clean. You have to keep the house stocked. There's all manner. You have to sit down and go through your mail, and you have to pay your bills. There's all manner of mundane things that we have to be busy with. And then after the things that we have to be busy with, there's everything else in Olam Hazeh that pulls at us and distracts us. But that's what it is. It's distracting us from what's truly important. All of the distractions of Olam Hazeh are fully capable of keeping us busy 24/7 and blinding us to what's truly important. And you don't need me to convince you that it's true. Turn around and look at the vast majority of the world. How many people look up at the heavens every day and say, oh my, wow, look at this. This is incredible. The sun came up this morning, and look at the sun, and look at the clouds, and look at the weather, and look at the seasons, and look at everything that's going on here. There must be a creator. There must be a designer. There must be a controller. There must be a manhig. There must be purpose to the world. How many people do that? Most people are holich b'machashakim. They walk around in the dark, in the virtual dark. They don't pay attention. They don't see. They don't think. And part of the reason is because they are fully distracted by Hevlei Ha'olam. They wake up in the morning, even let's say somebody was a non-Jew. They wake up in the morning and they're right away on the cell phone, and right away the email, and right away the job, and right away the boss, and right away the meeting, and right away this, and who has time to think? That's an Atzas HaYetzer. The Yetzer Hara does that fully intentionally. The Yetzer Hara keeps us busy and keeps us distracted so that we should not see. Yet, we know that the Ribbono Shel Olam does give us what we need in order to find him. I quoted last week from the Rambam in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah. The Rambam tells us, and it's very interesting because, this week in Pirkei Avos, this week's parak is parak Hey. I think it's Mishnah Gimel. In parak Hey. The Tana says, Ba'asara nisyonos nisnasa Avraham Avinu. Avraham Avinu was tested with 10 tests, va'amad bekulam, and he withstood all of them. And the Tana says what is really, it's a little bit of a cryptic phrase. The Tana says, Lahidia, this is in order to make you aware and to let you know, Kama chibasai shel Avraham Avinu. How much is the love of Avraham Avinu? Now, it's interesting. There's no Rav. The Bartanura isn't mefarish that line in the Mishnah. The Rishonim, by large, don't seem to say much on that line. They all concentrate on the different countings of the 10 Nisyonos. Different Rishonim count the Nisyonos differently. For example, we all know that Nimrod threw Avraham Avinu into the Kivshan Eish. According to some Rishonim, that wasn't counted as one of the Nisyonos. Believe it or not, that wasn't counted as one of the Nisyonos, according to some Rishonim. So the Rishonim focus the most on which ones of the tests were the Asar Nisyonos. But I have a different question. What does the Tana mean when the Tana says that we are told Avraham Avinu withstood 10 tests? Loidia kama chibasai. Does it mean to let us know how beloved Avraham Avinu was? You could learn it that way. You could understand it that because Avraham Avinu was beloved to the Ribbono Shel Olam, so the Ribbono Shel Olam dealt with him. The Ribbono Shel Olam took the time to work with Avraham Avinu and to present Avraham Avinu with nisyonos as the ability to grow. What's the pasuk in Tehillim? We say it in the Shir Shel Yom. Sit there handy. All right, I'm not going to go looking for the pasuk, but the pasuk says that Ashrei Enosh ki tiasrenu ka. Fortunate is the one that the Ribbono Shel Olam pains. What does that mean? What that means is that when the Ribbono Shel Olam loves someone, the Ribbono Shel Olam rechens with him. The Ribbono Shel Olam deals with him. The Ribbono Shel Olam wants him to grow. So the Ribbono Shel Olam presents him with opportunities to grow. So if the Ribbono Shel Olam presented Avraham Avinu with such 10 nisyonos, it was because he was beloved to the Ribbono Shel Olam. That's one way to learn it. But the Tiferes Yisrael does not learn it that way. The Tiferes Yisrael learns Avraham Avinu was presented with 10 tests, and he withstood them all, to let you know how beloved the Ribbono Shel Olam was to Avraham Avinu. You want to know why Avraham Avinu was able to withstand the test of an Akedah? Most people look at the Akedah and they say the Akedah was an unbelievable test in Emunah. The Ribbono Shel Olam told Avraham Avinu, Ki b'Yitzchak yikara lecha zara. Yitzchak will be your child. Yitzchak will be the one that your future will come through him. All of your descendants will come through him. And then the Ribbono Shel Olam told Avraham Avinu, bring him up as a carbon. So it's a tremendous test in Emunah. And yet, because Avraham Avinu was such a maimin, he was able to withstand in the Zion. The Tana is telling you over here, you want to know what the key to Avraham Avinu's ability to withstand in the Zion was? It was chiba. It was because he loved the Ribbono Shel Olam. His avas Hashem. That's what made him. That's what granted him the ability to withstand in the Zionos. Ava, not yira, not fear. Ava, avas Hashem, is what gave Avraham Avinu the ability to withstand 10 nisyonos. How do we come to Ava? So I quoted last week the Rambam in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, where the Rambam says, I took it out, but then I put it back. And the Rambam says in Hilchos Yesodei HaTorah, the Hayachi Aderech La'avasai V'Yirasai. How do you come to love and fear of the Ribbono Shel Olam? When you recognize the wondrous maisim of the Ribbono Shel Olam and his bruim hanifloim, his wondrous creations, that's when you come to Ava. Because the Rambam says, when you recognize that, miyad hu ohev u'mishabeach u'mefaer u'misaver taiva gedola leida Hashem hagadol. When you recognize the wonders of the Ribbono Shel Olam, that's when you're driven and filled with a desire to come close to the Ribbono Shel Olam and to be davuk boy, to be attached to him, and you're filled with love for him. When you walk outside and you recognize everything that the Ribbono Shel Olam does for you, that's when you come to avas Hashem. And when you have avas Hashem, you could withstand the nisyonos. When you have avas Hashem and you realize how good the Ribbono Shel Olam is to you at all times, and the connection that you have with the Ribbono Shel Olam, you have a love for him. You have a love for him. You want to be mahana him. You want to give him pleasure. You want to make him happy. You don't want to chas v'chalila do anything that will make him upset and damage the relationship. So then you could stand through in the Zion. Then you could withstand in the Zion. David HaMelech tells us over here in this kapitel, the Ribbono Shel Olam set you up in this world so that you should be able to come to this in a very easy way. Hashamayim misaprim kvoid keil, u'maise yodov magid harakia. It's all there. The Ribbono Shel Olam, the heavens scream at us. They scream at us and they say to us, look, you know, when you look at the Shamayim, the next pasuk says Yom l'yom yabia omer. Day to day, the heavens cause speech to flow. You could look up at the Shamayim like anything else, and you could see nothing if you don't pay attention. But if you pay attention to the Shamayim, the sun comes up every day on a precise schedule. It doesn't deviate, ever, 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 ever. The sun does not deviate. And can you say that this happens by chance? The schedule is a fixed schedule, year after year, decade after decade, century after century, millennia after millennia. The schedule never wavers. A cloudy day, doesn't matter, go up in an airplane. The sun is exactly where it is all the time. And you know with exact and total precision exactly where the sun is going to be. You have a luach at home, you have a solar luach from 25 years ago, open it up. Today is May 13th. Look at May 13th, 25 years ago, and see the zmanim, see what time sunrise was, see what time sunset was. The same day sunrise and sunset was 25 years ago on May 13th. That's when sunrise and sunset is today. It's a totally precise, exact schedule, completely designed. It was designed to be a certain way. There's nothing haphazard here. Yet, yom l'yom, from one day to the next, yabia omer, it causes speech to flow because it does vary from day to day. How many people realize if they get up in the morning and they go to their backyard, front yard, side yard, wherever you could see the sun, take a look where the sun rises. Everybody knows the sun rises in the east. Yes, the sun rises in the east. But if you look at the eastern horizon, the sun moves back and forth, south to north, north to south. Every day when you look at where on the horizon the sun rises, it moves ever so slightly every day throughout the year. It travels from the southern end of the horizon to the northern end of the horizon and then back, and it marches with the seasons. And that's also tremendous precision. That's how the seasons work. This is all depends on the orbit and on the elliptical orbit of the Earth. So this is all, our seasons depend on it. That's why the days get longer and get shorter. So if people could look at the sky every day, they don't see anything. Oh, is it sunny today or is it cloudy? Is it sunny or is it going to rain? But if they would pause for a minute, pause and just look and just pay attention to what's going on. Yom l'yom yabia omer. There's endless speech that could be said about this. And it's all yelling that there's a borei umanhig, that there's a creator, and not only a creator, but a designer. This can't happen by chance. How much of a tippish, how much of a shaita do you have to be? How great a fool do you have to be able to look at the workings of the Shamayim and say that this is by chance? Can't be. It's not possible. V'layla l'layla yechavedas. And night to night, it speaks of knowledge. Night, and it's interesting. I had this machshava, and then I saw later that the Malbim seems to speak about this as well. At night, the Bria, to a certain extent, I'm not going to say turns off, but quiets down. The world is quiet at night. Now, we mess things up because we've created somewhat of a 24-hour society with electricity and lighting and everything else. But the world overall is quiet at night, and it's dark at night. There's much less sensory input at night. And night is a wonderful time for introspection, especially if you can't sleep at night. So some people will say Oh, during the day, I'm so distracted. I'm running around like a chicken without a head. I'm so busy. Who has time to think? But at night, you have time to think. If you can't take the time during the day, take the time at night. Think. Think about all that you see. Remember that Mesulas Yesharim. The Yetzer Hara does not want you to take time to think. Take time to think. Think about it. About the Neflois HaBorei, all the wondrous things that the Ribbono Shel Olam does. And that will bring you to Avas Hashem and to Yiras Hashem. Now, David HaMelech says in Pasuk Daled, Ein Omer, there is no speech, Ve'ein Devarim, and there are no words. Bali Nishma Kailam, the voice of the heavenly bodies is not heard. Now, it's interesting, like I pointed out, that in Pasuk Beis, David HaMelech would choose to speak about the heavenly bodies as if they speak, and then in Pasuk Daled to make the point that they do not speak. So what point is David HaMelech trying to make here in Pasuk Daled when he says, Ein Omer ve'ein Devarim? I think David HaMelech is telling us something very critical. And that is, it's not by accident that Ein Omer ve'ein Devarim. It's not by accident that the Ribbono Shel Olam made it this way. You know, in a way, you might say to yourself, it would be far easier if they did have voices. If the Shemesh could rise every morning and start singing Shirais v'Sishpachais to the Ribbono Shel Olam, you know, there are those Rishonim that say that the Shemesh does have a voice and that the Shemesh sings Shira to the Ribbono Shel Olam in a voice. But it's not a voice that we could hear. But in a way, for us, if the Shemesh would get up every morning and start singing Shirais v'Sishpachais that we could hear, so then we would hear it. So then we couldn't look away. Then we couldn't be distracted. So then we wouldn't have to work so hard. Then we couldn't sleep through it. Then we couldn't be distracted and not think about it. Let the Shemesh scream at us. Let the Levana scream at us. Why make it quiet? David HaMelech says no. Ein Omer ve'ein Devarim, Bali Nishma Kailam. This is the design of the Ribbono Shel Olam. The Ribbono Shel Olam designed this world that if you choose to, you can sleep through it. You can sleep through it. You can be distracted by Olam Hazeh and not pay attention to any of these things. You can. At the same time, Hashemayim misaprim k'vaykel, u'ma'asiyadav magid urakia. At the same time, if you have a mind and you have eyes and you open your eyes and you open your ears and you look and you listen and you pay attention, they are screaming out to you. So the Ribbono Shel Olam designed it in such a way that you have to think. The Ribbono Shel Olam is a chaynein la'adam das. He gave you das. He gave you knowledge. He gave you critical thinking. He made you self-aware. You're mechuyev to use those powers. And if you do think into it, if you do take out time to think about these things, then you will internalize these lessons into your heart far more than if the sun and the moon and the stars would be screaming at you. The simple analogy that I always give is, yes, Baruch Hashem, we have wonderful art scroll Svarim, we have an art scroll Gemara, and we have art scroll Sidurim, and we have the ability to look up what words mean. Now let me ask you a question. How many times has it happened that there's the same word in davening that you really don't know what it means? And every time it piques your curiosity, you look at the English translation, you say, all right, that's what it means. And then a week later, again, you don't know what it means. Why not? Because you didn't internalize it. The reason you didn't internalize it is because you didn't have to. You didn't really have to think about it much because you have it there in front of you. If I want to know, I'll look in the translation. If the way the world would work would be that we look up at the Shemayim and the Shemayim screams to us, then we would rely on the Shemayim screaming to us. And when the Shemayim didn't scream to us, we wouldn't hear anything. If instead the way it works is that we have to look and we have to think and we have to delve and we have to ponder and we have to look and we have to say, wow, look at what the Ribbono Shel Olam does. Look at what he does for us. And then we have to think about that. Now, wait a second. If the Ribbono Shel Olam does all that for me, what does that mean? What are my obligations to him? What's my relationship to him? He does all these things for me, and you know what? He does them all for me very often without me even asking. I don't ask, because unfortunately, how many times am I half asleep when I'm davening? So I never even asked, or I never even thought to ask. I ever thought to ask that the sun should rise? What do you mean? The sun rises every day. I have to ask? It's like I used to say, many of you know, I used to use the analogy when we would speak about parnasa. I would say people worry themselves sick about parnasa. But people, generally speaking, don't worry themselves sick until COVID-19. People don't worry themselves sick. Am I going to breathe next minute? I breathe now. I breathed a minute ago, but am I going to breathe in a minute? That people don't worry themselves sick over. Why? Because they assume that they're going to breathe. Why do they assume they're going to breathe? Is that under their control? It's not under their control. The Ribbono Shel Olam gave them a gift. The Ribbono Shel Olam makes their lungs work. The Ribbono Shel Olam gave them oxygen. It's a gift. You can't control it. You have no control over it. You can hold your breath for a certain amount of time, but that's it. After that, it's involuntary. Central nervous system. It's totally involuntary. And you have no control over whether or not you're going to have the ability to breathe or not have the ability to breathe. So how come you're not worried sick? The answer is that you're worried sick over parnasa, because parnasa you think you have a modicum of control over. So since you think you have a modicum of control over it, so you worry yourself sick. Should I do this? Should I do that? How should I do it? Did I do enough? Did I not? Breathing, you really realize that you have no control over it at all. So you don't even think about it. Now we think about it because of everything that's going on. Now people do worry about it. But people don't worry and they don't think into things that they don't have to. But once you have to think into something, now sit and think into it. So what's my relationship with the Ribbono Shel Olam? What are my obligations to the Ribbono Shel Olam? What do I owe him? What do I have to do for him? He does so much for me. If you think about it, you will start to develop Avas Hashem and Yiras Hashem. And that's what David HaMelech is trying to give us a primer over here. He's trying to show us how to do it. He's trying to open up our eyes. I think that there's another possible meaning. Maybe I'm reading in a little bit more than I should, but the lesson is definitely a true lesson, whether or not David HaMelech meant it in the pasuk or not. And that is Yom L'Yom Yabia Omer. The day to day causes speech to flow, if you think about it. What do I mean? I mean the day to day of your life. The day-to-day living of everybody's life. Not one day. Day to day to day. If somebody looks over his life and spends time reflecting on the things that have happened to him and the twists and turns that his life has taken, and you start to look and you start to realize that there was a Ribbono Shel Olam there every step of the way. When I got that job 25 years ago, there was a Ribbono Shel Olam there, and the Ribbono Shel Olam set it up exactly the way it should be. And I didn't think it was right, or I didn't know if it was right or wrong, but ultimately the Ribbono Shel Olam made it work out. And maybe when I lost that job and I didn't think it was a good thing, but then I wound up in this job, I wasn't sure if I should go in this direction or in that direction. I wasn't sure if I should move here or move there. I wasn't sure if I should make this decision or that one. This thing happened and I didn't think it was good. This thing happened and I thought it was good. You look over the march of time and you see very clearly the hands of the Ribbono Shel Olam every step of the way. Yom L'Yom Yabia Omer. Sometimes you can't see it in one day. The same way you can't see all the chachma of the shemesh You can't see all the chachma of the sun if you look just at one day. One day could show you immense chachma. You go outside and you see the sun rise in the eastern horizon, and you watch it swing around to the south and then come back around to the north and then set in the west. You could see tremendous chachma by watching the sun for one day. But the true chachma comes when you watch it for a season and when you watch it for a year, and you see how there's a cycle and how there are seasons and how we need those seasons and what would happen to the world if we did not have those seasons. That's when you see the true chachma. So true chachma you could only see over the course of time. Yom l'yom yabia omer is in our lives as well. To see the real chachmas habayre, the real presence of the Rebbeinu Shalom in our life, we have to look yom l'yom. We have to look one day after the other, after the other, after the other. We have to look over the march of time. The laila yechavedas, and night to night gives us knowledge. Night, the Chazal always use for hester panim. Times when the Rebbeinu Shalom's presence is a little bit hidden from us. We all have those times of Laila. We all have those times of hester panim. We're going through a difficult time now. But Laila yechavedas. If you take a look again over the march of the years, over the course of a life, you look at the various times of difficulty, and you could see what there was to learn from them. I mean, there's a tremendous amount to learn from what we're going through now. You learn now an appreciation for mitzvahs. You learn now an appreciation for davening with a minyan, with tzibur. You learn now an appreciation of tzibur. Many of you will remember, I always say over on the Megillah, I always say that one of the things Haman told Achashverosh was, he said, Yeshnoi am echad, there's one nation, mefuzar u'mefayrad, beino amim. They're scattered. They're spread around. What was he trying to say? I don't know if he meant it, or it's just something that we could read into his words. Klal Yisrael cannot really fulfill their destiny when they're mefuzar or mefayrad beino amim. And maybe one of the things Haman was pointing out, even if he didn't have it in his mind, was that Klal Yisrael, when they're in Gullus, they're mefuzar or mefayrad beino amim, they're not really fulfilling their destiny. So why do we have to save them? Rebbeinu Shalom, what do you need them for? Mefuzar or mefayrad beino amim. The Dasei HaMelech Ein HaMoisim. HaMelech in the Megillah is very often a reference to the Rebbeinu Shalom. So they're not filling the role of Klal Yisrael when they're mefuzar or mefayrad. Klal Yisrael fulfills its purpose and its destiny when they're a tzibur, when we're together. Don't forget, we're all pieces of a machine. Not a single one of us are a whole unto ourselves. We are a tzibur. Everybody contributes to what that tzibur is. Everybody has a role, and together as a Klal Yisrael, that's when we're Mamleches Kaihanim V'Goy Kadosh. The Rebbeinu Shalom doesn't call the individuals in Klal Yisrael, you're a melech, you're a kayin. The Rebbeinu Shalom calls us a Mamleches Kaihanim V'Goy Kadosh, together as a whole, as a nation, as a complete society. That's when we're a Mamleches Kaihanim V'Goy Kadosh. Now, because of everything that's going on, we have a renewed appreciation for what it means to be a tzibur, not to be alone. We all count on the tzibur. We count on the shul for things. We count on the kehillah for things. We count on having access to the rav. We count on having access to shiurim. Yes, we have shiurim like this, but that's not the same. It's not the same as face-to-face. So, in the Laila yechavedas, there's what to learn in the Laila as well. B'chol ha'aretz yotza kavam. David HaMelech says in Pasuk Hey, throughout the earth, throughout the entire world, yotza kavam, the line of the heavenly bodies, the line of the sun, where the sun travels, the line of the moon, the mazolos, the constellations, they cover the entire world. There's nobody in the world who isn't exposed to them. Uviksei sevel, and from end of the earth to the ends of the earth, milehem, are their words. La shemesh sam oihel bahem. The Rebbeinu Shalom restricted the shemesh to the Shemayim. The shemesh cannot escape the Shemayim. He can't go anywhere else. But the lessons of the Shemayim, there's no hiding from them. David HaMelech again is telling you, if you want to learn the lesson, if you want to become close to Barei Olam, there's no hiding from it. Everywhere you go, there's Neflayis HaBorei. It doesn't matter where you are. You could go to the moon, go out into outer space, and look down on the earth from outer space, and you get a new perspective on the Neflayis HaBorei. Look at the pictures that they take from the space station or from the Hubble telescope. They're not even on the world. They're in either what's called the Rakia or the Shamayim. According to some Rishonim, it's Rakia. According to some, it's Shamayim. But they're up in Shamayim or up in the Rakia. And still, you see the Neflayis HaBorei. There's no hiding from it. It's there. It's there yelling at you if you want to see it. And now, I think the final pasuk that we'll talk about tonight. V'hu kichasan yotzei mechupasei. David HaMelech says the sun is like a chasan, a brand new chasan, yotzei mechupasei, coming out from his chuppah. Yosis kigibar, he rejoices like a gibar, lorutz oirach, to go running on his path. What's the significance of these analogies? I was pondering this pasuk today, and I think, in my mind, the entire shir is worth this pasuk. At least to me, the lesson of this pasuk is very startling and very important. The significance of the chasen yotzei mechupasei. He's a brand new chasen with a brand new kala. Those of us that are married could remember the intense excitement and the newness of being a chasen, being a kala. Tremendous excitement. And a frischkeit. You're fresh and new, and the whole world is opened in front of you, and you're starting down a new road and down a new path. And, you know, it's just, you feel full of opportunity, and you could build something new from scratch, and the world is open to you. The shemesh is like the chasen yotzei mechupasei. The shemesh rising in the morning, fulfilling his tafkid, fulfilling the role that the Rebbeinu Shalom has decreed for him. David HaMelech says is like the chasen yotzei mechupasei. And yet, what have we said from the beginning of this shir? Look at a luach from 25 years ago, and the shemesh is waking up on May 13th at the exact same time as it did 25 years ago. And the Mahalach HaShemesh through the Shamayim, the pathway that the Shemesh will take through the heavens, is exactly the same as he did 25 years ago. How dreary. This is the picture of drudgery. The same exact job, day after day after day, century after century, millennia after millennia. No change, nothing new, nothing exciting. And yet the shemesh is like a chasen yotzei mechupasei. How is that? We often wish to a bar mitzvah bacher. A bar mitzvah bacher gets his brand new tefillin, and he puts on those tefillin on the first day, and he's full of excitement and full of, this is something new, and it's so exciting. And us old-timers, we vinch on the bar mitzvah bacher, you should be as excited to put on your tefillin 10 years from now as you are today. Because we know all too well that if you're not careful, putting on those tefillin after 10 years, 15 years, 25 years, 30 years, what is it already? It's the same as yesterday. It's the same as the day before. And the Shemesh has been at it for 5,000 years and more. And every day is Kechasan Yetzei Mechupasei. Because he's being memale his tafkid. He's doing what the Rabbeinu Shalom wants him to do. So he's doing the avodah that the Rabbeinu Shalom has decreed for him. So why shouldn't he be like a Chasan Yetzei Mechupasei? Why shouldn't he be excited? This is something that so many of us, including myself, struggle with. You know, you look at your day and you have a lot of things in your day that you feel are just mundane drudgery. Oh, you have to be busy with this. Oh, you have to be busy with that. If it's something that's necessary to be done, if it's something that the Rabbeinu Shalom, you have to look at everything that you do and analyze it. Is this something that the Rabbeinu Shalom wants me to do? So if it's in the middle of COVID-19 and you're home with a bunch of Yiddish kinderlach and they need breakfast and they need lunch and they need supper, so ask yourself, does the Rabbeinu Shalom want you to feed your children? Yeah, he does. So then when you're preparing lunch, this is something that the Rabbeinu Shalom wants you to do. So then right now, this is your avodah. This is avodas Hashem. This is not less than something else. Now, sitting and learning a sugya, sitting and working on a shver taisvis, it's a lot more exciting. And it's Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam. So I would rather be sitting by my desk and I would rather be learning a taisvis. But right now, for whatever reason, the Rebbe Hashem doesn't want you learning a taisvis. Right now, he wants you making lunch. So then lunch is the avodah. If that's the avodah, then v'hu kechasan yetzei mechupasei. How much do we hear nowadays where those that are not from, maybe they think they're from, I don't know, but they go and they attack the Torah HaKdosha, and they'll go ahead and they say that the Torah is anti-women. The Torah puts women down. Women don't have a prominent role in Yiddishkeit. What are you, nuts? Women who stay home and raise Yiddish kinderlach, they don't have a prominent role in Yiddishkeit? What do we say? What do we say? Shema b'ni Musa avicha v'al titash toras imecha. It doesn't say v'al titash bishul imecha, the cooking of your mother. It's toras imecha. But people don't want to be happy in their role. They want a more exciting role. So you have the woman who wants to be a man. You have the Yisrael, aka Kairach, let's say a Levi, not Yisrael, who wants to be a Kayan. You're not a Kayan. Your job is not the job of a Kayan. Your job is the job of a Yisrael. But who gave you the job of a Yisrael? The Rabbeinu Shalom did. So the Rabbeinu Shalom made you a Yisrael. That's your avodah. Your avodah is the avodah of Yisrael. So you do the avodah that the Rabbeinu Shalom wants you to do. A woman makes a bracha in the morning, Shasani Kirt Sinai, that you made me according to your will. You gave me this role. That role is the role that the Rabbeinu Shalom, the Bayrei Kol Olamim, designed for you. So that's your avodah. You have to do your avodah. And your avodah is precious to the Rabbeinu Shalom. So the Shemesh that rises all the time in the same way and does the same thing over and over and over and over, he's doing his avodah. So he's kechasan yaitse mechupasai, with tremendous enthusiasm and with tremendous happiness and with tremendous ziruz, because he's doing the Ratzon HaBayrei. Yosis kigibar loretz ayrach. He's like a gibar running out to go on his way. The gibar who knows that nobody could stand in his way. Nobody could vanquish him. Nobody could stop him from doing what he wants to do. The Shemesh wants to go do his avodah and he knows he's unstoppable. He knows as long as he does the Ratzon HaBorei, he's unstoppable. And he's filled with joy. I think that this is a very powerful lesson that we have to be able to internalize into ourselves. If we could all get to the point where we look at our day, people I think sometimes make the mistake of thinking, they look at their day and they think, Shachris is Avodas Hashem. But when I come home and I eat breakfast, that's not Avodas Hashem. Now I'm eating breakfast. Breakfast is Gashmias. I'm going to make myself a nice, delicious breakfast. That's Gashmias. Now I got to go to work. Going to work is not Avodas Hashem. Going to work is Gashmias. It's Parnasa. So now I could go to the office and I could do whatever I want because I'm off now. Now is not Avodas Hashem. Chas v'chalila. Everything that a person does is Avodas Hashem. My family likes to laugh. I always tell over the story of, I should say, when I was in high school. And my science teacher, who was enjoying himself a little too much, he asked us on the first day, he said, who can categorize everything in the universe into two categories? And he was getting a tremendous amount of pleasure of everybody going around the room and trying to categorize everything into two categories. And he was disputing all of them. And I felt that somebody had really given the right answer. I think somebody said matter and energy. And I thought it was the right answer. And he was having the time of his life, slugging everybody up. So I looked at him and I raised my hand and I said, I have the answer. So he said, what? So I said, green or non-green? So he looked at me and he said, what are you talking about? That's baloney. So I said, no. I said, try it. Let's argue about it. I said, pick something. So I remember I picked up a pen and I said, is this green? He said, no. I said, well, then it's non-green. So I said, I could categorize everything in the universe. It's either green or it isn't. There's no way you could slug this up. I remember I was pleading with him. I said, don't try. This is not an argument that you could win. Now, what he should have done was he should have said, yes, you're right, but it's not a scientific system of categorization. He could have said that, but he didn't say that. Instead, he tried to go down the road of disproving it, which is a loser. You're not going to win that argument. So a Yid should look at his day. It's Avodas Hashem, or it's not Avodas Hashem. Now, what makes is it Avodas Hashem or is it not Avodas Hashem? Does the Rebbe Hashem want you to be doing it, or does the Rebbe Hashem not want you to be doing it? If you're making a shtadlus for Parnasa in a way that you're allowed to do, in a kosher oifen, and you have emunah and betachin, and you don't bank on kaichi vaytzim yadi, and you realize that the hishtadlus that you're making for Parnasa is only an emtzoi, it's only an excuse, something for the Rebbeinu Shalom to give you bracha through. So the Rebbeinu Shalom wants you to work for Parnasa, so then it's Avodas Hashem. If you're eating lunch, the Rebbeinu Shalom wants you to sustain yourself. So eating lunch is Avodas Hashem. Make a bracha, make a beautiful shakel niyabidvarei, make a beautiful bain nefashis rabbis v'chesreinon. And say it loud so that your co-workers can say Amen. This is all Avodas Hashem. The same way Shachris and Mincha and Mariv and Daf Yomi is Avodas Hashem. If the Rebbe Hashem doesn't want you to be doing it, then L'man Hashem, don't do it. But it's all Avodas Hashem. And if that's our approach, then we could all be V'ukechasen Yetzei Mechupasai Yasas Kigibur Loritz Oirach. Mirtz Hashem, next week, we'll take this kapitel to the next step, which is very, very interesting. On Shabbos, when you're davening, take a look at how David HaMelech segues from this whole discussion of the wonders of the universe, and from Hashemayim Misaprim Kvoid Kael to Torah Hashem Temima Meshivas Nafesh. Now David HaMelech segues and shifts over into a discussion of the Torah HaKdosha. What's the connection over here? Oh, it is a connection. David HaMelech is going to show us how to grow from the beginning, from the foundations of recognizing the Rebbeinu Shalom and recognizing and coming close to him, having dveikus with the Rebbeinu Shalom, but how we need Torah in order to get there. Thank you so much for joining me for Torah learning. Everybody should have a wonderful, wonderful Shabbos. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send Yeshuas and Refuas to those who need it, to Parnasa to those who need it. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send us a true Yeshua. The Rebbeinu Shalom should send us the Bias Goyal Tzedek. How do we unmute people?